All right, welcome to another episode of the Passion Pit. My name is Crim7. I'm your host, and I am joined by two very handsome gentlemen. First off, I got my co-host, Matt. Matt, you wanna give us a little bit about yourself and introduce our second guest on the Passion Pit?
Oh yeah, guys, you know who it is. It's the Matt Man here. CDL caster. Hopefully in the future. Right now just covering the challenger scene. But I mean, this guy that we're about to introduce right here, Krim, a lot more important than me. We got Mr. Kevin, aka Surge, the owner and CEO of Team War. Kevin, how are we doing today, brother?
It's Friday, man, so I can't complain here. And I live in California, so the sun's beaming
Ooh.
outside. Got a little game night sesh with some close buddies of mine later today. So
Oh
vibes are
man,
good. Vibes are great. So
yeah.
ready to hop on here and see what you guys want to know more about.
Hey, we want to know everything. If you want to give us any intel on anything no, I'm kidding. We'll start off
Oh, we're
like,
going right into it.
no, we'll start off. It's been a minute since, unfortunately, since we've seen Team War. Last I recall, you guys competed in Major 2 and then ended up leaving the challenger scene for now, hopefully, in Major after Major
Yeah.
2. So I just want to get right into it. Like, what was your whole mindset after Major 2 in terms of like why you wanted to leave challengers? And I know a lot of people probably already know reasons, but we just want to ask your reasoning behind them.
Um. So, I mean, it's a tough question. I mean, it's just if I did a video about it where I ended up crying because this has been something that's been near and dear to me and to my company. We've been involved in Call of Duty esports since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Our first amateur team was, back in World War II, Dallas. Started from a local team, and 6 years later, we're still supporting the scene. Never missed a beat, and we just kept climbing up the ranks and became the face of challengers for a good bit. And yeah, this year we decided to take a step back. There's a multiple reasons
Yeah.
for this decision. It didn't come easy. A big major one was the team that we had two teams in mind that we really wanted to sign going into this year, and it was what became LAG Academy with Exceed and
Mm-hmm.
Co. And then when we had that call with them, they told us that the LAG had talked to them and were interested, but wasn't set in stone. So of course, if that opportunity came, they should definitely take that, and they did. And then our other choice was the X Elevate squad with Harry, Gizmo, Stevo, and Denza. As you guys know, we've had those guys under our umbrella for quite a bit, many years, and especially Stevo. And I've always been very confident in him and his abilities, and he's basically like a brother and family to me at this point. Um, and we couldn't come to an agreement on a deal going into this year. The Elevate deal that they got just didn't make sense numbers wise for the organization, because there's a lot of money that goes into this, and I don't think people understand to do it the right way. I wouldn't say on average, if you want to do it the right way, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean by that. It costs about $9,000 to send a team for one event.
For one event.
And what I mean by the right way, it's you cover flights, you cover hotel, you cover food for the weekend. And then on top of that, when I mean do it the right way, you can't just send a team and then not do content, right?
Yeah.
And you guys on this call know how important that is for your personal careers.
Absolutely.
And so that involves me. I fly out to almost every event. When I had a team, I flew out to literally, I think, almost every event. I want to say like 95% of them. So I would fly myself out. Sometimes my co-owner, most of the time, I would say half the time my co-owner would go. We just try to send over our social media person, so she's like actively posting, sending updates to her fans by the minute. And then we had a videographer, a photographer, so then we could basically upload reactions, upload the interviews, the post game interviews, all that stuff that sponsors like
Yeah.
to see as well. So it's a very costly, and a lot of players don't realize that, and especially even challengers, is that we're not just paying for you, we're paying for the vision and for the growth of the organization that's trying to build you up, try to tell your storyline, and that costs a lot of money. And as you guys are noticing around the esports world, times are tough, and it's hurting all of us. We couldn't resign with Turtle Beach because their budget got cut. We Same with BenQ. We're still signed by them, but it's on like a product basis now because their budget cuts, and so all around esports, it's been hitting tough, and it hurts everyone. And unfortunately, Challengers has been a sinking hole financially for us. Um, Especially the last 2 3 years when we haven't been winning as much as we used to, and on top of that is, it did get more expensive. The salaries increased, all that stuff, and the cost increased. So unfortunately, it just the ROI wasn't there, and there's some decisions made by the league on the challenger side end that we didn't agree with, and we didn't see the trend going this way upward. It was going the opposite. So it kind of, we had to come to that decision. So that was probably the biggest part.
Yeah.
Is just the return on your investment wasn't there, and we didn't want to push ourselves to a point where we put ourselves in a hole and you don't see WaR come back ever. So
Yeah.
we had to take a step back.
Yeah, and like me personally, being been watching the scene for a while now, and I remember 2017, 2018, all the way up until Black Ops 4, back when obviously it wasn't franchised,
Yeah.
and there was pool play and everything. I remember watching Timor. I've
Hmm.
always loved the design that you guys went with was amazing. I always loved that. It was always almost an underdog story sometimes too. Um,
Hmm.
Whenever there was an upset, which was awesome. So um, hopefully some things in the future change, and we'll get into some questions about potentially your future and some ideas you would like it to make,
Yeah.
in terms of like what the CDL can do to make it more feasible. So I'll let Matt, you got a question you'd like to ask?
Oh, one thing I just wanted to say, also kind of piggybacking just off what we were talking about, kind of Team War's history, is just like I like Kevin said, they've done it the right way. You know what I mean? And it's really good to see when orgs are able to do it the right way. With content, because I think that's the what's kind of gonna produce those challengers teams to get more eyes on them. And what we're trying to do here is just that content side of it, which a lot of teams just kind of miss the ball on that. But Team War, especially, y'all never missed it on that. And kind of again going off what Krim said, are there any changes that you would have the CDL make? If you could make the changes, what changes
Yeah.
would you make? And then maybe what would be some changes that we could see Team War possibly make a comeback if those changes are made?
Yeah. That's a great question. I mean, you guys are, piggybacking off of what you guys are, it's just said around Black Ops 4 ages. Back in the day, for anyone who's not familiar, before the challenger scene, it was the COD World League, and basically there was a pro league, but the amateur circuit had a true path to pro where every event you attended, there was 4 amateur slots that could enter the championship bracket with the pros. So we could play against the Optics, we could play against the Envies at the time, the phases, every event we attended. And that was huge because, if you did get that slot and you did make an upset, like, yeah, I'll make this comparison. 2019 championship, we qualified for the pro championship, and we made some shocks. We got top 12, and with top 12, that meant we had to beat some pro teams. So we beat Gen G, who was the number 2 team in the world. Um, One of the best experiences of my life, even though Envoy Dylan is one of my closest people in my life, because I owe a lot to that kid. Um, he's not a kid anymore. He's fucking has facial hair and shit, but he's an amazing person. I still keep in tabs with him. I know his family well, his girlfriend, and so unfortunately, at his expense, we beat him, and we created so much noise, and then we beat Splice on the stage, and everyone went crazy. The social media went crazy. followers went up. Like my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. It was ringing. I had the jitters. I remember we went to Chick-fil-A. I couldn't eat. I was just like
You were
so
on a
excited,
high.
and,
You were on
and
a
at this,
high.
I was on a high.
Yeah.
I was on a high. I was climbing over chairs. Like it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. And in that moment, I knew that this is what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And every day, every minute after this was just going to work towards making this a full-time career for me. Fast forward, we go to challengers where they completely split us apart. There's no more 4 amateur teams get to play against the pro teams. It's literally like a huge divide, and there's no collaboration. And I'm talking about year 1 challengers. Well, by the end of that year, we actually had one of the best years personally as an organization because we won like 15 championships, including the big one at the end. And this is during COVID, so they split the region championship. So we won the European region, arguably the one of the greatest series ever against Singularity, like back and forth against 2 orgs that actually hated each other at the time. And the fans hated each other, so it was great. It was picture perfect, everything. We ended up winning, so like it was amazing. We did damage on the impressions. We did crazy good numbers. We got the reactions. You could see my reaction still pinned to my Twitter of
Yep.
me crying in that moment, and how much that meant to me in that moment. And we did great. All the content, everything was picture perfect. But when you still compare those 2 moments, us winning champs in challengers versus us beating Splice for top 12, our Splice numbers are still larger than the challengers.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
to me, that was one of the biggest red flags after I sat back and looked at the numbers. I'm like, this is not a good sign for us, for the little guys. And every moment after that is just trying to help the scene grow and trying to make the best out of the situation we could. And I think that first year the league did pretty good job. We were on the main streams. They didn't split our YouTubes apart. We're literally on the main broadcast channel. They tweeted every time we won a championship, every cup, everything. We got tweeted out. We got shouted out by the league. And the person who was basically at the throne of that of challengers was super easy to work with, super nice. The prize were pretty big compared to what they are now. And everything looked like it was okay. Like we could work with this, right? We could grow this. And then for some reason, year after year, it just kept getting worse.
Hmm.
We stopped getting tweets from the COD League Twitter. We stopped getting our matches streamed. And then we started getting only like 3 matches streamed, including just maybe the winners final, losers final, and grand finals. And that's it out of like elite seasons and all this stuff. And just the quality of the lands once we did have them back was, like I was really disappointed. The last champs we attended in 2022 for for challengers, it was took place at a USC gymnasium, and it just felt like we were just a side dish, like they
Yeah.
just got thrown to the side.
Yeah.
And that was disheartening. That was very disheartening because we grew this fan base. We grew diehards. We spread our wings globally. We had a Spanish team at one point, UK team, NA teams. Like I feel like we're doing everything we could to help the league grow. And then, they started listening, but I just feel like it took a long time. I think I do want to shout them out because they have made positive changes. That they introduced the Prime in 2022, which is where they allowed 1 tournament where we could finally play against the pros again. I think that's huge. I think we should definitely do more of that if we can. Maybe 2 tournaments a year. That'd be great. And then this champs actually they introduced the challenger finals on the main stage, and that was another huge thing. And that's something we had in year 1 of challengers that for some reason took 4 years till we finally do it again.
Yeah.
And so they're making strides, but that should be a staple in every event. Every major should have challengers on main stage on championship Sunday morning, every event. And I hope the numbers support that because we need it. Us little guys need it. At this point, we have our own little stream on the Bravo side. we don't get the mainstream action, and we need that. We need that for our growth, for our ecosystem. I think you've seen a lot of top orgs fall out of challengers because, like I said, it's just been a cash burning investment, and we stuck through all these years because I love it. I love people like on this call who are passionate about this esport and share the same passion I have. And in the end, I'm doing this because I want to help accomplish these dreams of these players that I once had myself. I wanted to be a Call of Duty professional. It didn't happen for me, and then I got this opportunity to build something to allow others to do it. And I think 15 plus players have now done it and gone through our ecosystem and become pros. And that's what puts a smile on my face at the end of the day that we did something good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is
and
that good enough for an
yeah,
answer?
that's a
Alright,
great answer. You really went into depth. We were just the main part of the question is just like, what would you personally want in terms of like a change or a few, which you gave us plenty of answers on what you would like to see. And even what's great is you even gave us examples of how it's been done in the past and how it's worked, and that we're just not doing it anymore. We should be I don't understand quite as much because obviously I'm not behind the scenes. I'm not like I'm not running org in challengers, or nor did I run an org back before CDL era, but I understand from the outside looking in, there was these things that worked and we're just not doing anymore, and these things should definitely be brought back, because I feel like the Call of Duty should look at it the same way everyone else looks at it, or Call of Duty League, or whoever makes these decisions. They should look at it as like everything that grows the scene is a positive, and Challengers is a core pillar. It's one of those 3 pillars of the Call of Duty League.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, Krim, we talked about it on the last time that we did the podcast with the Deviants guys, where we were just kind of talking about that grand finals for challengers had 70K viewers. So it's not like fans
That's really
don't want to
impressive.
see this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, fans are asking continuously for more challengers, like more challengers content. For I love what Kevin was talking about with like kind of like the pro-ams. I remember the pro-ams being my favorite tournaments to watch, because you were seeing teams like Toronto Ultra going up against their own academy team and having long series, and especially it was Vanguard, so anything could happen in those games. And
Anything can happen.
You saw amateur teams beating the pro teams all the time, and I think that's something that Halo for me does really, really well, where they do their kind of pool plays like before
The
they
MLG
get
days.
bracket.
MLG,
Yeah,
yep.
why do we not go back? And I want to see pool play. Like, I love seeing Optic play some random team from like nowhere that you have no idea about, and it ends up being a crazy good series. And it's like those guys get more recognition, like Kevin said. Like, they got all those engagements and all of those eyes on them for beating Splice, going top 12. Like, that fans want to see that. Like, you love to see the underdog story. Like March Madness, who does everybody want to win? We want the 16 seed to upset the 1 seed. You know what I mean? It's everyone loves an underdog story. And I think the fact that we don't include some of these top amateur teams in our pro events is just a complete mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to understand, they from the league's point, they decided to go this franchise route, and it's seen its difficulties, but I think over the years, they have been making adjustments to the league, and it's gotten better on the pro side, which is great. And the viewership showed for itself. And that's good. But at the same time, while they're trying to fix that side, they kind of let off the gas on the challenger side, and that directly influences people like me and other people trying to invest in the scene to grow it. And it's a dual relationship, and we really need somebody at the head of challengers to kind of spear the vision through.
Man, I'll do it
between us and hey man, somebody needs to do it. I mean, we were chanting for a hold shift to do it for a while, and I mean, I'm happy for my guy that he's getting his opportunities now, because he's well deserved it. But we kind of need somebody like that at the helm to kind of like be the middleman between the two and just voice our concerns and our the opportunities that we are thinking of in our heads and how to make it better. So I just feel like we lost communication there from an org standpoint. We used to have actually monthly meetings as challenger. Like I had 4 or 5 other challenger orgs, like top challenger orgs, and we'd have a call with our CDL rep, and we'd go over things like how to improve, how should we, what things do we like and don't like, and we stopped doing that. I mean, his name was Matt. I think
It
his
was me.
Twitter's like
Oh, no.
dot Zeb. And he was a super cool guy, and he really tried to fight for us, and we need more people like that. And I'm still fighting for the scene, even though we're not in it.
I mean, and I think there just needs to be kind of like, and what I think Krim and I hopefully can do with this podcast is just creating that community around challengers again. I think it's been kind of lost, like you said, over the past couple years with the league not being able. Well, not I'm not gonna say not being able, just not helping as much as they once did. And I think hopefully, like if we can really get, like you said, all the challengers owners kind of on a good same page, get more of these players voiced out and get more eyes on them and kind of just create that community that everybody loves to see that that COD community has, but we kind of just transfer that right into challengers. And I think there's already a lot of people that do care about challengers. I think it's more than people think. I just think that without the league's help, it's just very, very hard to get seen. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm gonna what's that?
Go for it.
I'm just gonna say, like, obviously we're talking, I would say we're talking bad upon the league. One thing we have to remember too is it's still, we're not talking bad. We want it to be better.
We're just giving constructive criticism.
Yeah, we're giving criticism, and hopefully, again, like, one thing too about the league, it's still pretty new. It's in its infancy structure. So hopefully this criticism, this constructive criticism we're giving, hopefully they take this, and that goes with not just us on this podcast, that goes with any, like, owners in the CDL, owners in challengers, players. Hopefully they take this constructive criticism and they start implementing it, and maybe eventually we'll see more orgs such as Team WaR wanting to come in to challengers or come back into challengers, or potentially in the future, if there's a possibility of an expansion, Team WaR maybe joins up there. I don't know. We'll see.
Put him in the CDL. Put him in the league.
We definitely miss Team WaR, along with other orgs that have dropped out or decided to pursue other things for the time being. But another question I have, this one's more of a fun question. So, if you could right now, you had one player in the challenger scene that has been in the challenger scene this year. If you could pick up one player to start a team around and start a team for next year, who would it be, and why is it Jimbo?
That's what's messed up is that he was on our last roster.
We
had Jimbo on our last.
Okay.
Actually, I think he was in our last championship roster too.
Okay, we'll skip that part. We'll skip that part. Sorry about that.
I will say this. No, it's okay. I've actually met Jimbo in person, and I haven't really said much on the TL, but it was very disappointing to see that, because when I talked to him, like, me and him had our back and forth, especially around contracts. We never want to have buyouts in his clauses, as a lot of players do, but you got to stick stern as an org, because that's one of the only ways we could get consistent cash flow.
Yeah,
and we're a business in the end. But he was kind of hard to deal with sometimes, but when he wasn't, he seemed like a really good kid, and it really sucks that he felt the need to go down that path of cheating, and because he robbed opportunities from other players who are genuinely working hard and trying to better themselves every day, and that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah,
absolutely the worst thing. I watched most of that censor video, and literally their opportunity got robbed from being at champs, and they deserved it. They're a good team. I mean, they're our final boss for some reason for WaR. whenever we had our UK team, we could not beat Doug for some reason. We would go game 5 every fucking time, and they would just find a way to win. So I'm sure Denza enjoyed him not being there, in that competitive sense. But in the end, like it's really unfortunate, and I
Yeah.
hope the scene cleans up a bit, because Cold War, we lost to cheaters in our championship online when I had Journey, Lucky, Metals, and Yako.
Mhm.
We lost to I forgot their name, but it was like Los Pepes or something like that. But basically, the kid, like, out of nowhere became a god squad, and we're missing, knew exactly what we were doing all the time, and then gets, I think, second or third place, and then sells his PC and moves to the Bahamas or some shit and never sees him again. So it's just like, we literally lost to cheaters
Yeah.
at our champs, and I was
And
like, that costed us, possibly top 2 or even first. Like, you never know. So
and then
I hate to see it.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I mean, and I'm guessing as well that y'all were never really compensated for that, or anything was really done about that.
Oh no, absolutely
No.
not.
And,
Absolutely
and
not.
that's just it. We talk again with the Deviants guys. We kind of talked about it. The online aspect of challengers playing such a big role in like, but when LAN results are more important. It's a very very weird kind of setup of where you're playing a lot of online matches, a lot of online tournaments for, thousands of dollars, and
Right.
guys can literally just hack all the way through that. And then, if they're just in it to win a couple dollars here and there, they're not caring about the LAN performances.
Yeah.
Not trying to say anything about any of the players, not Jimbo, anything like that. But I mean, obviously, looking at how he was performing at champs, it did not seem like they were going to do very good without the hacks. Um,
Yeah.
it's
I
just a
will say
weird.
he did not perform well at Team War's last hurrah.
Yeah, and I
Neither
actually,
did. I mean, most of our team didn't, but
yeah,
not just him. But yeah.
I met Jimbo in New York at it was a Helix LAN. It was like a 2K or something like that. And he, as you said, like, he seemed like a good kid. I and just because, I mean, this is probably debatable. Just because you cheat at video games, does that mean you're a bad person?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
yes. I think
I
yes.
don't think it
Yeah.
makes you a
I think
good
it's more
person.
of, if you're cheating, that's robbing other people of opportunities of money, or actually going somewhere in Call of Duty. Obviously, you're a bad person. Some people
Yeah.
just do it. They rage cheat or whatever. But he seemed like a good kid, and
Yeah.
it's very unfortunate, because I don't know what the reasoning behind him deciding to do that was, but it not only did it ruin his career, but it also ruined a lot of people's opportunities going to champs, and potentially more, depending on how far back he's been cheating for.
And it
Yeah.
also could
Yeah.
potentially ruin, future careers too. I mean, what if there was a game where, Null Flight, let's say this year, they end up making champs, and one of their players has an amazing performance at champs. Like, they'll never get to know how they were going to perform at champs, or get who was going to watch them play while they're at champs, what CDL
Yeah.
teams are going to be there and the like. And like you said, for Doug and the Boston guys, I mean, they were top 3, I think, in almost every LAN this year, and don't get to go to champs because of the LCQ in an online tournament where a guy hacked. I mean, they were, like
Yeah.
Kevin said, I mean, they were straight robbed of that opportunity, and nothing's being done, which it's very strange, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I hope it sends a message to anybody who is cheating or contemplating cheating, that, like, you will get caught eventually,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I said it.
and you will
You
be
will get
shunned out of
caught.
this community.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I never really answered your question. You said, who would I
I,
pick?
I was gonna ask it
Um,
after we got through the Jimbo stuff.
so
So yeah,
who
yeah,
is this, for a CDL team, or is this a
No,
challenger
let's say
challenger
team?
team.
CDR comes back. You guys you're starting challengers next year. You got to have that first guy you sign on for your challenger
You
squad.
can get anyone that was in
Challengers
challengers this past year. Anyone.
Okay, it's not pros. Okay. I would probably go back to Wardy. I'd
L.
probably
Good
build
one.
around Wardy.
I love L. He's a fucking
Um,
comedian.
That was funny. He's a very passionate kid,
Mhm.
and he's also just very good. I think under the right like structure and place, like he had with us, he will shine. I think him and Scrap are arguably the top two challengers that year in Vanguard.
Mhm.
He's just super explosive, but he needs to be right under the right wing. I think Ricky Atura did a really good job coaching him towards the end half of that season when he came onto WaR, and kind of like, was not afraid. He listened to Ricky anytime he criticized him, and I love that about him. He's not afraid to be wrong, and say he messed up. So I would probably build around him, um, and put some pieces together. I don't think the Spanish UK collaboration thing really works. I know it. I know it worked with Bickle. His English was really, really good, and it was just one of him. But I noticed that Deviant's team had the 2 and 2, and I don't like that combination. I would either do all UK. I'd rather do all UK or all
Oh,
Spanish.
Spanish. Yeah.
So,
I think it
so
just
I'd
adds a
probably
sense of
do.
camaraderie. Excuse me.
Yeah, I talked to Journey after the event because I was there, still at Champs, and he just said like there's just communication issues at that championship, like
Yeah.
literally missed call outs because he thought he heard something and it was something else, and in this game of Call of Duty, like literally that
Split
comms is
second.
everything. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
split second decision, you don't listen, you don't kind of interpret it the right way, and you're screwed. So yeah, I'd build around him. I'd build around Wardy still.
Yeah.
That Omit team looked really good at that finals. I think people like Harry and Chilts from Wee Man, those guys still deserve a chance in the league. A lot of people deserve a chance in the league, but that Gwen kid, I remember I talked to his coach at Boston, and he told me before he even picked him up that like that kid was like really, really good.
Mhm.
So I'd have an eye out for somebody like him. But then you kind of still like in the champion, like in the pro league, you kind of need like a veteran to kind of like put the team together. And like I don't think there's anybody better than Stevo on that kind of level, and like Denza, probably those two. I don't
Yeah.
think they should really be on the same team because they're too similar. But like I think you kind of need that kind of veteranship in a championship kind of caliber team to kind of bring the troops together and keep them on point. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It'd be a combination, be a funky combination, but I typically don't ever kind of create teams from scratch. I usually let them form, and then I let
Mhm.
the players kind of make that kind of call.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones playing 10 hours a day, not me.
That's fair.
But
And
Wardy would be my answer.
I love that answer, and I just love how you gave sort of a background of how you would sort of look into building a team almost there. It was a great answer. So yeah.
Yeah, one story behind that. I'll give you one quick
Yeah.
one. That MW championship year, where we're winning everything. The boys came up to me. Oh, not came up to me, but they called me, and they're like, "Yo, Kev, we want to make a roster move." And I was like, "Why the fuck are we making a roster move? We were like winning, like everything." And they're like, "I really think we gotta make a move because the competition's catching up. Singularity and Connect 5 at the time." And they're like, Singularity is had just let go of Chain, who was like one of the star challenger players that year. That kid was incredible. I wonder what he's doing now, but Chain was really good that year, and he became free agent because I think him and Maple didn't stop getting along. I forgot. I don't know the details, so I might be totally off at that. But anyways, he became a free agent, and there's an opportunity to pick him up. But then also this young gun called Afro was on the market, and
Oh snap!
our team was split down the middle. Half wanted Afro, half wanted Chain. I personally, and I love Afro. I caught up with him at Champs, but I didn't know who the hell he was. I just saw his placements. He didn't place well, and so I didn't really know much about him. And I was like, no, we gotta go with Chain, dude. Like this guy's fucking unreal. He's having like MVP caliber scrap year now. Like like he was like a scrap of today in challengers
Mhm.
of or last year essentially. And I was like, dude, we gotta pick him up. Like we pick him up, it's over. But then like the play styles, I think Steve-O just didn't see it working. He thought we could still win with him with either of them, but he was like, this Afro kid is actually really gross, Kev. And I was like, fine, let's do it. So we did it. We made the move for Afro, and it ended up paying off quite a bit because that kid came onto the system, just swallowed all the knowledge from Dave and Stevo that were giving to him, and he just molded into this superstar on our team. Him and Harry just would just have lights out like performances where it just take over a map, like
Yeah.
just completely take over a map on their own. And I was like, what is going on? Like, how is this kid so freaking good? And if I hadn't listened to my team and my players and trusted them, we might have not won that championship that year. So that's where I always take a step back. I'll play devil's advocate all day long because I don't like making roster moves, because the more roster moves, the less storytelling I could do with the players and build up the storyline of Team War. So we typically try to limit it to like one or two
Yeah.
during those years, and so
Yeah.
we did, and it worked out. But yeah, I typically that's the way I usually work. I let the players usually make those kind of calls.
Yeah. I love to hear that. Obviously, great answer. I already said that. We're getting around the time we want to get to in terms of how long the podcast is, so I'm gonna start leading off
Okay.
here. Is there anything you want to bring up yourself? Anything you want to say going forward? There's one question I will leave at the end, so hopefully you don't hit that question.
What is the question? I might hit it.
Do you
You
want me to
just
just
tell me the
ask it now?
Yeah, go
Okay,
for it.
Crab,
All right.
ask it.
The question
And I'll give
is
any afterthoughts to.
the yeah
I'll
the
answer both questions.
the question is, does Team War have any plans as of right now to join back into Challengers or any other sort of aspect of the Call of Duty League?
We do not have plans to join Challengers back.
No.
We do not. We have been pretty firm, and after that decision was made and seeing it through, we don't feel it's still the right time to get back into it, because honestly, at this point, what we're trying to do is get into the CDL franchise. Team War is doing those all these memes and stuff you're seeing online. It's part for like just fun and engagement, but
Mhm.
like I am actually trying to get us in the league. And I'm not afraid to say that. I'm also not afraid to say that we did have a meeting with the CDL on Tuesday about
Oh.
this, and things are moving along. The call was really good. The person we talked to was awesome. I'm not gonna say who it is, but um, I think our visions align as Team War's vision of what we would like to do in the CDL franchise, and what they're trying to, line their vision with their orgs. Um, it's not gonna happen this coming season. I can tell you that. But you never know. There's other avenues we can go about it. There's certain orgs that are trying to sell their spots, but we are gonna do everything we can to get in the league. That's gonna be my main focus this next year, and building the team around that. So hopefully it does happen at one point when everything makes sense and the opportunity arises. But that's basically where we're at. I think we did our
So
time in the
nice.
pit, and I think if we did get in the league, I think it would honestly be an uprise for challengers, because it's like one of its own made it, not
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
a player, but an actual org. And I think that would honestly give even more hope to the scene, and hopefully bring more orgs back into the picture, because they could see hope that, like, hey, like, org did it,
Opportunity.
why can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm going to be working towards. And I'm not afraid to say that out loud to anybody. I mean, we're going to continue keeping the memes going. So keep showing
Yeah.
your support online.
Yes.
Every
sir.
little bit matters, because the CDL sees it. We see it, of course, and we appreciate it. And we're going to try to make this happen. Like, we're not just talking the talk, we're actually walking the walk, and we're trying to make this happen. It's going to take a lot of work, investors, all that good stuff. And I mean, everything just needs to fall into place. But I don't expect it to happen anytime soon, but hopefully in the future, when the opportunity rises, we will rise with it, and you'll see Team War up on the main stage next to Optics and the Phases and the Ultras.
If you
And
could put a
yeah.
percentage on it, what percentage chance you feel it
I
will
can't put a
win?
percentage on it. I
Can't.
can't.
I wouldn't want you to
It's
jinx it.
I know. I
I'm
don't
a
wanna
super
jinx it.
I
fishy
just
person.
I wouldn't. But you got to speak it into existence.
Yeah, that's
why
true.
I'm
That is
saying
true.
That here,
No.
because I strongly believe in that. I think things will fall in place. I think we've proven that we could do a lot with the little resources we have compared to some of the other franchise orgs. And we've kind of upbringing the ecosystem of challengers. I think one cool idea I have, pardon me, one cool idea that I have if we were to get a franchise spot was I was I'm not saying like I would have for sure an academy team, but I would do like something along the lines, and if somebody steals this idea, okay, kudos to you, but like I would do like an MVP of challengers per major. So every major I would have a committee lined up, and then we'd give like some extra cash and like a little trophy or something to the MVP of challengers. Uh,
Yeah.
if we were a franchise spot, just to give more, like I said, like
Back to
if
challengers.
we did take that step, I still want to support the scene that kind of like made us who we are now.
Mhm.
So things like that, like I would try to do little things like that too, because as somebody who's been in it, like those kind of little things matter. And who wouldn't want some extra little cash, right? I think
Absolutely.
this year Abuza would be swallowing up a lot of that cash because he had a phenomenal year. But yeah, things like that I would want to give back, but my mindset is not challengers right now. It's how do we get into the CDL franchise?
I love that, and
Awesome, man.
I'm excited for the future. I'm definitely hoping everything goes well. I'll be rooting for you guys, Team War, obviously you, Kevin.
Oh, you better. You
I'll-
guys better be.
Hey,
I better
I'll
be. You
be.
guys roaring.
Hey, you better
Oh,
send me a
man.
jersey if
Yeah,
you make it
send
to
us the merch,
CDL.
man.
No, if you go to events, I'm gonna put you in a full on
Go
like.
where?
Oh,
Go where?
I'll do a
outfit,
Spartan outfit.
Fucking
Oh my-
full
yo.
on Spartan fit, and you'll be
Oh,
fucking
I'm down.
screaming with a plastic sword and shit, starting chants.
Plastic swords, not crimson.
No offense, Hitch, but those drums ain't gonna do nothing.
Nah,
when we come up there,
hey,
bro.
I
We're
can
gonna
just
have
hear
some
the
war
I can hear the marching, the war chant. Oh man, I
Dude,
love that. I love the
I'd have,
idea.
Like, we'd be selling like plastic like helmets replicas, and like people just imagine like
my-
a sea of
yes.
fucking helmets.
Oh
and shit
god.
in the crowd,
Hey.
and then you go up there on main
You
stage
didn't-
and start
No,
and like just start doing
You
some
need to be
crazy.
turned up, man.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
all
excited.
I'm
It'd be lit.
thinking all
Yeah,
I'm
some good
thinking
ideas.
over here.
all I'm thinking is the crowd. You have it's Optic versus Team War. You have the green wall standing up, and you have someone from Team War on Team War side. This is Sparta. Fucking
Yeah, dude.
do the Spartan kick.
Yeah,
Dude,
that'd
I
be
love it.
sick.
I love
That'd be
it.
sick.
I absolutely love
Yeah.
it. And again, I am.
Pop.
I'm 100% rooting for you. Especially you get it. I mean, honestly, I'm always rooting for you. But you get in the
appreciate
league,
that.
I might have to actually get a favorite team again. So we'll see. We'll
Hey,
see.
man, come
But
from the pits, brother. So
we come. We
I
love
gotta
that.
go
We gotta
with-
support each other.
That's what I'm saying. They're like they would be representing the challengers. I think they would have to be like
Yeah.
the team of the
We
pod.
would
Hey,
be
if you-
challengers rep.
Yeah.
Look, if they get into the CDL, they got to be our face for this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to sign me and Krim. on.
Exactly. Exactly.
We'll
No,
be.
you guys are on board.
Oh, I'm
You guys will
down.
be one of the first
Absolutely.
calls.
We're down.
So,
We're
I'm
already
I'm
talking
glad
about.
we can end this with excitement.
Yeah.
That like all the ideas are flowing, and we gotta probably cut it off before we start saying too much.
Before we
I
say too
mean,
much, we gotta give away the
we
game.
can keep
But,
going. I'll
script.
cut wherever we end. But
Oh, brother.
I know.
We're
I
gonna
know.
Oh,
the
just think
script.
about the I have some ideas for in-game stuff that would be so killer.
In,
Oh,
like in
man.
game, like
So-
like designs, like
Mm-hmm.
like in.
Yeah.
Oh, I need
Yeah.
it. I need to hear this. We keep going. I don't care about a time
No,
limit
no,
here.
no, I gotta leave some. I gotta
Okay,
leave
well,
some.
leave
gotta
it to the
some-
imagination. Leave it to the
you gotta
imagination.
Yeah, you gotta leave
the
some. Just
viewers
just
something.
imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine a lot of
Something
stuff.
to get
I'm already thinking. I'm already like, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future for Team War. I'm excited for the future for yourself. And just Call of Duty in general. It just right now we're growing, and hopefully we get to the point where we're just everything clicks, and whether it's challenges, the top tier in terms of the pros, and the fans. It's all good for us.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's what we want everyone
Yes.
to succeed. We want everyone to leave happy and just have a good time.
Yeah. And keep making content,
And
guys.
keep making
killing it.
content. Yeah.
Man,
Good job on the start on this podcast. I think it's well needed.
I appreciate
and,
that.
Why not become the flank of challengers? Why not
That's
you?
That's
the goal.
that's the goal. That is the goal.
So, there you go.
So
shout out to flank.
shout out
got-
to
we've
Flank.
shit.
We've got some stuff in the
I'll get
works
Gersh to
too, you know what I mean?
retweet.
Oh, dude, that's
Yeah,
all
he
we
better.
Need,
He
right?
better.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Yeah. So, is there anything
awesome.
else you wanna throw in before we cut this? That last bit was perfect. I loved hearing
you
that,
got
and
me
I'm excited for
excited.
you, and just the CDL in general.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say. I think just keep showing love, guys. Every little like, every retweet, every comment you guys post on our socials means the world to us. I shout out to my team who works really hard day in and day out for us, and our content creators are pumping out content daily. So like Testy, Moosey, Aroma, and Teddy, and a lot of those guys play COD too. So you can still find daily content through WaR. Official Team WaR is all our socials. Check us out. We're gonna keep doing great things. We have some apparel, some fire apparel coming out soon. Molly is leading that, so we're gonna start making like 100 Thieves quality stuff, and it's gonna be limited drops. We have some sick stuff lined up. So the org, even though we took a pause from challengers, we're gonna keep the train going. We have great aspirations, like we just talked about, and we're gonna keep working hard for you guys to make you guys proud. And I appreciate all the love. So thank you guys so much, and thanks to you guys specifically for letting me hop on and jamble a little bit about challengers, because I do love the scene. I love the league. I want nothing but the best for the Call of Duty League. And I hope any criticisms that we shared today is just they take it with a grain of salt, in the sense of like they see it as a positive, as a way to prove, because in the end I want to be here, I love it here, and I just want this to become the best esport out there in the world.
Yeah, I love to hear it. Again, everyone, make sure you go follow Timor. Make sure you go follow Kevin, or otherwise known as Surge, from Timor, owner and CEO of Timor. We love them. Make sure you go give some love to them as well. And again, we appreciate you being on, and we're excited for the future. If there's nothing else, we're just gonna wrap it up here. Again, thank you. This is the next episode of the Passion Pit. Will be a banger as well. But this one was fucking amazing.
We got some
We
insight.
got some insight. We got some insight.
Information.
And
Wait, one quick thing before we go. Hold
oh
on.
god,
hold on.
here we go. All right.
You said you're really good friends with Envoy. Where's he going? You gotta know. He's told you. Where's he signing to? We gotta know.
Not saying a word, brother.
Oh,
Matt,
no, we almost got
Matt,
him,
hold
dude.
up. I'll
We
tell you.
almost
No,
got
I'll
him.
tell you after this. We're good.
We got some insider information, Chad.
No. So again,
But wherever he goes, he's a star player.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I already told him.
Absolutely.
I told him in Vegas, and he already agreed. It's like, if I get a spot in this
Oh.
league, he's gonna be coming back home.
Okay,
home.
we got future
And he knows he's
intel.
coming home.
Coming home.
We got
He's
future
coming
intel.
home.
Coming home.
He's coming home where he belongs.
I love it.
And we're gonna build around him.
I love
period.
that. So
One of my
that
favorite
yeah.
teams and favorite players. Are you kidding me? Yo, Call of Duty, y'all gotta just get Team WaR in there now. Why wait? Why wait? Just put them in there now.
All
I
right.
mean, we have so
We
much
love
talent
this.
too. We have Cammy, we have Afro. I mean, we could build a superstar team, honestly.
Oh,
With just
gosh.
X4 players.
Oh my
It's
god.
crazy.
So Crone,
Alright.
in the future, Crone has his work cut out for him. So we're good. But again,
Yeah.
Kevin, thank you for joining. Give some love to Kevin, Surge over at Timor, and just Timor in general. And thank you for joining us at this podcast, the Passion Pit. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. I'm just thinking about the future of
right
Timor.
now. He's
I'm thinking of the
excited.
future of the
future is
CDL.
bright, bro.
The future is
future's
bright.
Too bright.
And
It's too bright.
again, thank you, Kevin, for bringing the fucking passion onto the Passion Pit. Have a good night.